On to table 3, collect the results. Now the very first one, payback period, is using Visual Basic for Applications function. This is the same Visual Basics for Application that makes macros, and that's why our template ends in XLSM for macros. Now some computer labs don't allow macros, and so I'm going to show you how we make our own to get around that. So you recall that we downloaded a fame function fame payback a.txt file. So open that up and go Control A to copy it, Control C or Control A to select all, Control C to copy what we selected, and then back to our spreadsheet. And to open up the Visual Basic editor, and where I'm finding this, by the way, is in our web page, our keyboard shortcuts, the macros VBA. Open up the editor is Alt F11. Another one that we're going to be using in a minute is how to get the functions of an argument. When we make our own functions, we don't have the ability to see what it's asking automatically. Remember when we opened up payment, it told us what the arguments that they wanted. Well, when we make our own, it doesn't have that, but you can call for them. And the way to do that is after we have the function is to go Control Shift A. So Alt F11 to get in the Visual Basic editor, and then we have to insert what's called a module to save it in. So that insert you see at the top, I underlined, Alt I, and then M for module, and this is where we're pasting it, Control V. If you look at the left side of the screen, the navigation, it's the third one down of the green icons is the VBA project week 8 term template XLSM. That's our document. And there's two folders under that. The second folder is the modules folder that we just created. It has to create a modules folder to create a modules document within the folder, and that's what we've made. Now I'm going to go Control S to save. And now when we go back to Excel, if we type in equal fame, it will automatically detect that new one that we just made, and hit Tab. Now in order to know what arguments they're asking for, we're going to go Control Shift A, and it's asking for cash flows. And so I'm going to use the arrow key to go up and get the first cash flow, Shift N to the right to get all the cash flows. Now to get back in the formula, you'll see that the cursor is typing there. I'm going to hit comma, even though we don't need another comma, and I'm going to delete the word rate. In this version of it, the payback period, there is no rate. We're going to use that in the discount payback period. So it's 0, and then enter. And that is the payback period. Now I'm going to put this and the discount into 2 decimal places. I'm going to go Control 1, and then tab down to category, number, and tab 2 decimal places. That's what I want. Enter. Good. So back to our website. So that was fame payback period. Now the discount payback period, the rate that it's using is the weighted average cost for capital. So equal fame tab Shift Control A, and the same cash flows, Shift and across, comma, and then I'm going to delete the extra comma and the rate, and then I'm going to go up arrow to go up to the WACC. It's here in B11, and then I'm going to close bracket. Oh, I got too many close brackets. Enter. There. So the payback period is almost 4 years, 3.96 years, but the discounted payback, when I get payback plus the 10% that I could have, that I have for my weighted average cost of capital, how much it's costing me to get money to borrow, is really 4.74 years. Now, the net present value for the entire project is going to be equal NPV, and then tab to accept that. The rate, which is that WACC, comma, and then the values. Now this, for the NPV, cannot use the initial outlay, but we're going to add the initial outlay onto it after the formula is done, because Just because NPV can't use it doesn't mean we can't. So I'm going to go to the first year and end across, and then close brackets. Now I'm going to add at the end of that what the initial outlay was. And that's too many decimal places, and so I'm going to go Control 1 and then tab across. I'm going to make it 0 decimal places. Okay, the internal rate of return equal IRR, open bracket, the values, and in this case they're, unlike NPV, we can use all the values, shift and end across, and then close brackets. That's all we need. So it's a 12% initial rate of return, which is better than our 10% that was costing us, so that's good. But when we say, yeah, but we need to take into account the amount that we could invest and the amount that is costing us, we're going to use the same amount, the WACC amount. So that the modified MIRR, modified internal rate of return, uses the same values, shift and down, comma, and then the finance rate, and I'm going to use, that's really our WACC. The reinvestment rate, I'm just going to say for our purposes it's the same amount. That says it's 11%, and I'm going to increase the decimal place on both of these. Control 1, and then tab down, and percentage in 2 decimal places, just to get more accurate. And save what we've done, Control S, and that shows how good our project is. I think it's still a go, it's just not super.